The opinions expressed on the Brennan Lowe Show do not represent the values of Bristol Broadcasting Company. WBS Charleston, West Virginia, a Bristol Broadcasting Company station.
Right, let's turn it up. Woo. Let's get weird, buddy. Let's get weird.
Mike Patton.
When he was 15, he's a good player.
The officials were struggling mightily. I mean, they can't count to three.
I've been following Cam Newton ever since he played for the Ohio State Buckeyes, my #1 college football team.
We got our kicked today.
No basket! No basket! No basket! Hoyas win! Hoyas win! Hoyas win!
You got Jared Ford in the middle of the field talking to everybody. Then when somebody say something to him, he don't even supposed to be on the field.
Are you ready?
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the biggest show in sports.
This isn't Fart Talk Radio or anything.
Friday. Brennan Lowe Show 95, the Sports Box. You out of work, Charleston. Time to talk some sports. Excited to be here with you today. Crank it up. It's Friday. Who's ready for the weekend? That's right. Happy birthday out to my daughter. Early birthday. Tomorrow is her official birthday. She'll be turning 2 years old. Happy birthday to my daughter Eva here. I'm going to do that because we don't have a show on Saturday, so I have to do it a day early. Or my wife starts freaking out and goes, "Did he forget his birthday? Did she forget her birthday?"
Yeah, 5 days is definitely enough of Brandon.
Yeah, okay. That's Matlock, by the way.
Yeah, you know, little start the show burn, right?
Bring in Matlock. Where's your music at?
Go ahead and hit it.
Yeah. What's up, man?
What is up?
Matlock is, he's freezing out here.
I'm cold.
Matlock was outside earlier complaining about how the polos just won't cut it in this weather.
Yeah, I'm going to have to figure something out. I'm going to have to get some colored parkas in here or something. You know, my red, green, all my parkas.
You don't like the long sleeve polos, just the short sleeve polos for Matlock.
Yeah, definitely. That's more my style. Solids, not stripes.
Right. Plus, that's what I was going to say. Is it would be hard to find the same exact collars in long sleeve shirts.
Yeah, I got to do some work. I'm going to the interwebs for this one.
Want to say hey to Dan Reed and Matt Thaxton joining our live stream on Facebook. We're also streaming over at rsnsports.com and over at our YouTube channel as well. Give us a subscribe over there, Brennan Lowe Show. Just search us over there. Also follow us on Twitter at WBES Brennan Lowe. You can call the show 304-344-9704, and you can always take us on the go at 95tosportsbox.com, TuneIn app, and simulcast, rsnsports.com. We're going to have Yogi Kender at 5:30, Mingo Central head football coach. They take on Fairmont Senior this Saturday for the AA state title, and this is the last year for Yogi Kender. Just a hard time for Yogi and his wife. They lost their daughter at the age of 32 years old earlier in January, and it was a very great article that Rick Ryan did for the Gazette-Mail Preps site in West Virginia Gazette-Mail. And, you know, I wanted to get Yogi on the show because I knew this was last year. Didn't know much about the story behind it. Reading through that article last night, it would just tear you apart, just reading through what this guy and his wife has gone through. He came back to coaching. He didn't want to coach. He wasn't sure he wanted to coach, but this is his final year. And what a way to go out in the state title game. And they won the Cardinal Conference. They went undefeated. Last year they went to semifinals, I think, for the first time in school history. This time they get a shot at winning the state title. So keep your eye on that one. Your other high school football playoff games in Class AAA, Martinsburg and Spring Valley. And then in Class A, you got East Hardy and St. Mary's. And just a bunch of great games this Saturday for the Super 6. Root Sports will be carrying those games as well, Class AA and Class AAA games. You'll be able to watch the Class A on Monday on Root Sports. So good to see them getting TV coverage as well. Again, we'll be speaking to Yogi Kender, Mingo Central head football coach, at 5:30. Excited to talk to him about his matchup with Fairmont Senior and just have a nice conversation. Could be the last time we interview Yogi Kender on the show. We had him on last year. Haven't had him on this year, but this may be the last time we get to interview Yogi Kender. Bunch of stuff to get to. We're going to talk some playoff stuff, conference championships. It's championship week for college football. I'll give you my NFL picks. I was a little late on it yesterday. We had a lot of topics. I picked the Vikings last night, my upset pick. I was close. Vikings were leading that game. We'll get into that in our breaking news. And for that, before we get to our breaking news, we need to do a little Friday rock out, right? It's Friday. Let's kick it. Play that solo, Eddie. Take them right into the weekend, baby. Oh. I practice once a week, bro. Listen to this new riff I came up with. It's crazy because we were talking about this off the air, Matlock and I. At what part do you just tell Eddie Van Halen it's gone too far? How long does the solo need to be in that song? I mean, how come Sammy or somebody was just like, listen, we know you're good. We know that you can bring the heat on the guitar, but can you just tone it down with that a minute? It's a minute 40 seconds of that.
Yeah, dial it back a little bit, Eddie. Come on. I don't think anybody's ever going to stand up to Eddie Van Halen and be like, tone it down, Eddie, you know? Just, no.
It's crazy because I like solos on drums and guitar, but at some point, with those instruments, it gets a little kind of agitated. You know, like drum solos only go so far, too. They're a little... I mean, it's like, okay, we get it. You're really good at drums. The solo is awesome. But we're past 40 seconds at this point. We should probably get on with the show.
John Bonham from Led Zeppelin did Moby Dick. It's like a 20-minute drum solo. Come on.
I mean, are we going to get to the song at some point? We wrote lyrics to the song, didn't we? Are we going to sing some at some point, or are we just going to keep playing guitar? And is the drums going to come in at some point, Eddie?
Yeah, when do I come in? What am I doing here?
All right. Let's get to our breaking news.
It's time for breaking news in sports, but it's still sports and news.
From the Brandon Lowe Show newsroom, I'm Brandon Lowe, and here's the news and sports. That's still sports and news.
All right, news is sports. Sports is still news. Cowboys hold off the Vikings. They're now 11-1. The Cowboys, you know, if they would have won the first game of the season, we're looking at an undefeated Cowboys squad right now. And it's crazy because when we thought about the Dallas Cowboys a year ago, we thought, what a joke. Not like a joke like they couldn't compete. A lot of times, you know, the reason why it's so spectacular to see the Cowboys do what they do is you got two rookies. You got one quarterback and a running back, both rookies, both performing at a high level. The only thing with the Dallas Cowboys that might hold them back when they get towards possibly playing in a Super Bowl, winning a Super Bowl, is their defense. Their defense is still holding them back. I mean, it's they forced a turnover last night. The Cowboys have gone 18 consecutive quarters without a takeaway. It's the NFL's longest active streak. The last takeaway, fourth quarter of Week 8 versus Philadelphia. Until last night when they were down 9-7. Now, I was looking like a genius for a while in this game. The Vikings were playing them good. And I thought, hey, the Cowboys are due probably a loss at this point. They haven't lost since the first week of the season against the Giants. So I thought, okay, the Vikings are hungry for a win. I'll take this as my upset pick this week in my NFL pick'em. I looked like a genius for about 3 quarters, halfway into the fourth quarter, and then I lost. That's usually how it goes, right, Matlock? That's how everything goes for me.
Yeah, that is true, man. I mean, I can't deny it. The proof, it just keeps showing up time and time and time again. Yeah, man, you have that bad luck. I'm glad I picked the Cowboys, though. Awesome.
I was going to just go with the Cowboys, but at this point, like I said, where we're in this NFL pick'em. By the way, I just had a cough of $30 because I lost college football fantasy I played for the first time this year.
That was $30?
Yeah, $30. So I lost that, and now it looks like I'm probably going to lose $20 in this. So I don't know, man.
I'm running for that first spot still. I'm gunning for it hard.
I don't even know if it's legal what I'm talking about right now.
Yeah, this might not. Sure.
Nah, it's all good. It's just a pick'em game, but it's pros, so you can do that. But the college stuff, I mean, the fantasy stuff, you know, I don't care. Fantasy football, I mean, the whole gambling thing and things like that sort, I just think it's ridiculous. I just think it's really ridiculous. But
yeah, wish the courts felt that way. But
no, I was kidding. $30 is actually for the my pro fantasy football league, not the college. College was actually you know, good to go. It was pro. Let's go over to the schedule. Let's go over to the schedule for this weekend. Top 25 football. See how I tried to retract that, but I just stumbled over it. So. If I go to jail in the middle of this show, then
okay, show me dragon.
All right, top 25 football. It is championship weekend. Number 1 Alabama versus number 15 Florida, SEC championship. Alabama, Ryan and I talked about this last night on the show. Alabama could probably rest their starters because it doesn't matter if Bama loses this. They're a lock for the playoff. And it's crazy, like Ryan brought up a great point. Do you rest your starters? Because it doesn't matter if you lose. You're not dropping out of the top 4. You've been the best college football team all season long in regards to record. We don't know how good you are if you play Ohio State or something of that sort, because the SEC, whether they want to admit it or not, has been down. Multiple teams with 4 losses throughout the SEC, so especially SEC East, it stinks every year. Number 3, Clemson. Number 19, Vol Tech, ACC Championship. Another game that could potentially cause some type of uproar or shuffle in the college football playoff rankings that come out that Sunday. But I looking at this, and on paper, it looks like Vol Tech might have a chance. Clemson sometimes does lose games on paper that they normally, or struggles normally that they should win. So it could be a compelling game, but I think Clemson's going to still stick that one out and get a victory. Number 6, Wisconsin. Number 8, Penn State. Big Ten Championship, Indianapolis. This game, it's almost pointless at this point, other than you get a Big Ten championship and you're going to go play in the Rose Bowl, because Ohio State is pretty much a lock for the playoffs. And we're going to get to that stuff, too, with the playoffs expansion possibilities and the conference championships later on the show as well. You got Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. West Virginia taking on Baylor at 3:30. We'll get to that later on the show. You got Navy and Temple for the American Athletic Conference Championship as well. That could potentially also delay rankings because of the Group of 5 situation with Western Michigan. Depending on what happens there, Western Michigan plays Ohio in the MAC championship, so that could also delay these rankings as well. Top 25 men's basketball on Saturday, Kentucky versus UCLA. That's a top 15 matchup. Virginia and West Virginia at 2 p.m. That's going to be a great matchup, folks. I'm looking forward to that. 2 p.m. tip-off on ESPNU. I'm going to have to go back and forth between the basketball game and the football game. But it's worth it because both games are going to be great. All right, Xavier and Baylor. That's a top 10 matchup. And number 17, Wisconsin and Oklahoma. Now, watch out for that game because Oklahoma, I think, isn't that bad as they're taking this team to be. Considering they lost Buddy Hield from last year, I think Oklahoma can play with Wisconsin. I do think Wisconsin will win the game, but I think it'll be an interesting matchup and something to watch on Saturday. Looking at the NFL schedule, we'll get to that later on in NFL Pick'em, and I'll give you my picks. All right, Charleston's Power Park here, Charleston's minor league team. Reports that workers installed the brand new LED board at Appalachian Power Park yesterday. The stadium is also building a new production suite, and the cost for all these upgrades a total of around $700,000. Matlock brought this to my attention, but it's good to see that. It's good to keep that park up. It's a beautiful park already, and they're really building around that community as well by the ballpark.
And it's not been upgraded since 2004.
Right.
So it's definitely needed.
So it's good stuff. I mean, if you ever go over there and catch a baseball game and things of that sort, and the restaurants and stuff they got around there, you got Capital Market down the street too. It's a good up-and-coming area, man. I mean, there's a lot of stuff to do there around the park, plus the ball game. It's good stuff. All right, Columbus, Ohio. I don't even know why they do this, but geologists measuring vibrations caused by boisterous Ohio State football fans say the Buckeyes' game-winning touchdown in double overtime against rival Michigan had Ohio Stadium rocking more than any other team this season. Ohio State and Miami University professors teamed up with the Department of Natural Resources to devise the Fanquakes magnitude scale. Where'd they come up with this, man? After hours? At the bar or something? You know what we should call this, man. I mean, this is going to be good. Listen to this. Fanquakes magnitude scale. What they said at the same time, too. They clink glasses. That's what I picture. Using measurements taken around the stadium, it converts the shaking from fans into the perceived magnitude of a naturally occurring earthquake. Pretty cool stuff.
Was it 5.6?
Yeah, I like science, so that's good stuff. I'm trying to get through this quick, Matlock, but still got a couple stories. CBS says NFL games are coming to its CBS All Access subscription service, making it a little easier for cord cutters to watch football without a pricey cable subscription. Now, we're seeing more and more of this because of the cable cutting, networks know that they need to adapt because, as Matlock and I have always said, if you don't adapt, then you die, right? That's what happens. You fall behind what everybody else is doing. You lose subscribers, much why you're seeing ESPN clinging. Now, ESPN would, let's just be honest, if ESPN didn't have the ABC college football and NFL packages, like with the NFL with ESPN, the primetime college football stuff with ABC, ESPN would be on its way dead at this point as a network. I mean, if they didn't have those deals, that's why they don't really necessarily have to care to make all these moves. Now, they have streaming service, but they're not doing multiple different things to try to get more subscribers. They're just letting people go and say, hey, we still got the NFL, we still got college football. ESPN will be around. Now, it is kind of falling apart, but this is why CBS is doing things like this, because they know where this is going. People are streaming stuff, tablets, TV, CBS.com. Starting Sunday, customers live in one of the 150 markets where the app comes with a live CBS feed. Games aren't available on the CBS phone app. Multi-year deal includes regular preseason, postseason games shown on CBS. It costs you about $6 a month. If you want less ads, you can pay $10. But that just shows how these networks are progressing, what they see, and it's just all metrics, folks. They're watching this stuff. They're watching where people are getting their information. On our website, we have Google Analytics. It's a very simple system. We do it to our website. We see where you're coming from. We see what you use. We know what you click. Everybody does this. In the radio, you got the ratings, you got the TV ratings. They're seeing where you're getting most of your coverage, most of your programming. So they're gonna make sure that they're getting a piece of that pie at some point. They're getting subscribers. That way, they're not losing out on any money with these cord cutters, with these cable subscriptions. They're gonna make it up in some way. And you know that with these millennials and just even us, Generation X, we're doing the same stuff. So that's where you're seeing this new revolution with how you're going to see your ball games. All right. This story, I just mentioned this, can rent Rick Pitino's Florida mansion for just $18,000 a month. Now, this is the second mansion Pitino has put on the market this year. He had another home, and Matlock, guess how much he was selling the other home for?
How much?
$25.9 million.
What?
Now, the reason why I bring this up, and I know we've had this conversation about amateur athletes being paid, the NCAA, and all that stuff. I know this conversation and this topic has kind of got buried in this court system, but this just shows why it's almost important. You're going, you got a coach who can afford or buy a $25 million mansion. He's also got another $18,000 a month that you can rent, $4 million mansion just as a vacation home. And what do we always say about coaches in college? The coaches rely on 18 to 22-year-olds for their performance, for their bonuses. For them to be successful, they have to recruit the players. The players have to perform. Then the coach gets the race. Then the coach gets the extension. Then the coach gets to buy $25.9 million mansions. So that's why sometimes you go, man, wouldn't it be great to give one of those players, those players that can't even have a job in the offseason half the time, or just give them a little piece of the action? I'm not talking about a lot of money, but give them some. You know, like Justin Crawford working at Taco Bell in the offseason. The coaches told him, you're not going to be able to work during the season.
It's the first thing I thought about.
It's just like, okay, well, I guess my family won't eat tonight. I mean, you got to understand, they spend 40 hours on football during the week. And basketball is the basketball schedule is even worse. You're playing Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Sundays, Saturdays. Sometimes you have 3 games in a week, not counting practice. And yes, they get a free education. Yes, they're debt-free when they get out of college. Those are the things that kind of go against.
But they still have to work for that. They're
still
going to
have
class.
Right.
You know, that's a full schedule in itself.
So that kind of, I just brought that up because of seeing that. It's like, man, this guy's got 2 mansions, one for $25.9, another one for $4.3. And they're trying to get a job at McDonald's just to make ends meet. All right, last story. Alabama's Lane Kiffin to interview for Houston job after SEC championship. We talked about this yesterday. We're like, there's no way Lane Kiffin's taking the job at Houston. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes it because of the Nick Saban control. Nick Saban likes to control his coaches with the media and such. Lane Kiffin can kind of cut loose. He can have his own job. He's the head coach. He's the main guy. He has head coaching experience at USC, Tennessee, and Oakland Raiders in the NFL. But will Houston show up enough money to make Lane Kiffin head over to Houston from Alabama? Because you got to understand, Lane Kiffin's getting paid a nice salary with less responsibility. And he gets to win national titles. So that's not something Houston can really, hey, come over here, man, national titles. Just like the Les Miles situation. And they're not, by the way, a source, Art Browse, they're not going to hire Art Browse. Right now it's a no. But remember Lane Kiffin, though, remember when he missed the bus You know, that was that moment, you know, it was embarrassing when he missed the bus after the national championship. He missed the bus to the airport. Remember this?
Lane, can I get a quick question? Lane, can I get a quick question? Lane, real quick, real quick.
Whoa. Hang on, kid. Hang on. I need to go use the bathroom, all right? Hang on. Oh, God, dear Lord. I've been holding that since the second half. I never thought Nick Saban would shut up. Oh. I got some on my shoe. All right, kid. What was it you wanted to ask me?
Well, Mr. Kiffin.
Hang on. What the? Hang on, my bus is... Son of a... Well, that's not good. They're leaving right now.
So, I mean, Lane Kiffin, he might leave Alabama. I think if he's going to leave Alabama, he'd head over to LSU, to be honest. He knows the coach over there a little bit. All right, let's take a break. Come back, we'll talk about what if we expanded the playoff field? What if we went from 4 to 8? Conference championship games, relevance. If we did expand, if we don't expand, we'll talk about the college conference championships. You can call the show 304-344-9704. Back after this, Brandon Lowe Show, 95 The Sports Fox.
You're listening to The Brandon Lowe Show on 95 The Sports Fox. Be a part of the show. Let the Valley hear your opinion.
You know, that's just like your opinion, man.
Or the top sports stories, locally or nationally, on The Brandon Lowe Show. Call 304-344-9704.
This is Steve Gorman Sports.
U.S. Soccer fired Jurgen Klinsmann today. Bye-bye! Cannot miss the 2018 World Cup. Missing that tournament would be devastating for men's soccer. I was a Klinsmann backer. I loved the hire, and I said, you got to give him time, you got to give him time, you got to give him time. That 4-0 loss to Costa Rica last week, yeah, that did it for me.
Steve Gorman Sports.
Evenings at 6 on 95 The Sports Fox.
This is JT the Brick with Tom Looney.
Bruce Arena is the new men's soccer coach for our country. Well, I have too much respect to call him a retread as he's representing our country, but clearly I know that we don't have enough soccer coaches in America. We don't have anybody else other than Bruce Arena to do this again because there's no new young coach who can light a fire.
This is JT the Brick with Tom Looney.
Nights at 8 on 95 The Sports Fox.
Follow the show on Twitter at WBES Brandon Lowe. You can also listen to The Brandon Lowe Show on your TuneIn app or at 95thesportsfox.com. Now, back to The Brandon Lowe Show on 95 The Sports Fox.
Welcome back. Brandon Lowe Show, 95 The Sports Fox. Take us on the go at 95thesportsfox.com, TuneIn app, and simulcast, rsinsports.com. You know, we talk about this college football playoff stuff, and I had a conversation with Randy Dunn, an avid listener, by the way. Shout out to Randy Dunn. He listens to the show every day, or national sales manager here. And we were kind of talking about this whole college football playoff situation with conference title games and how they really don't matter, and how this committee talks about having the 4 best teams and not the 4 conference champions. And, you know, I've made the reference that with the BCS era, we still, even though not every system is going to be perfect, let's just put that. But with the BCS era, everybody complained about the legitimate nature of the BCS era. But I've said over and over, the votes and everything were counted up. You had the coaches, the AP poll, you had the computers, everything, all the numbers were there. But the college football playoffs and the committee, you don't know who voted for who. You don't know how many people voted for Washington to be 4, or Ohio State at 2, or Alabama at 1. I'm pretty sure that would be a unanimous decision there. But you look at conference championship games, this possible playoff expansion. Now, when you look at conference championship games, okay, Roy Kramer, Vanderbilt's athletic director at the time, later SEC commissioner, when the SEC expanded in 1990, the conference viewed a championship game as a revenue windfall. So revenue was everything. College football revenue has been everything from the get-go. Most college athletics, money goes a long way. Any business, I mean, if we want to be honest, the NCAA is sort of, if not a business. Without actually saying it, they generate a lot of money. They just don't have a lot of paid employees, the ones that make the money. So a rule that passed, by the way, 1987, the NCAA convention, so the Pennsylvania State Athletics Conference could stage a conference football championship game, Division II. All three NCAA divisions voted on the rule. And this takes us over to now the SEC Championship, which the conference cherishes as much as the Big Ten and Pac-12 love the Rose Bowl. They've been copied across the country. Now, by 2018, every football bowl subdivision conference will have a championship game once the Big 12 returns to the scene, and the Sun Belt adds one. So the concept of this conference championship games have outlived the Bowl Coalition, Bowl Alliance, and Bowl Championship Series. Models used from 92 to 2013 to try to force this national championship game between top two teams. And the Big 12 Commissioner, Bob Bowlesby, who I love dearly, I say that with sarcasm, dearly as well, said if we were to expand the college football playoff, I think one of the ways you might expand is to play the first round games, assuming you have 8 teams on the weekend where conference championship games are. I could see a replacement at some point in time with first round games in an 18 playoff. There would be enough money involved in extra playoff games to make it worthwhile. Now notice the last statement he makes. There would be enough money involved in extra playoff games to make it worthwhile. Follow the money, right? Because conference championship games exist in a large part for money. They add more revenue for a league through its media rights packages, sponsorships, and ticket sales. They often help also decide a true champion. So conference championship games are going nowhere, folks, because there's just too much revenue and multiple streams. So the whole conference championship thing, it's a win-win for the playoff committee because the conference champion doesn't matter because the conferences are getting their revenue regardless of the top 4 the committee puts in. So conferences get their money. Some of them get their teams in the semifinals to play for a possible national championship. More money for the conference there. You just follow the money. It's that simple. And as Dan Patrick put it this morning, it's a show. It's a reality show. Getting their bang for the buck, right? Blue Bloods are in there for a reason. They got the money. Also, an interesting thing, too, we talked about this, the Big 12 not dividing into divisions with their conference championship looming in 2017 in Arlington, Texas, and Jerry World. No divisions for the Big 12. They decided that after expansion also was no longer an option, apparently, for the Big 12. Nobody out there interests the Big 12 to expand to 12 teams. But could it be genius? Because after reading this whole report with CBSSports.com, the Big 12 taking this unusual step, no divisions pairing the teams with the best 2 league records in championship game, could potentially be a benefit. Because if you look, from 96 to 2010, 33% of Big 12 championship game matchups featured teams with the league's 2 best records. Based on AP Top 25 rankings, upsets in conference championship games happened 27% of the time. Big 12 had it happen 33% of the time. So you do have 2 of your best teams, but you also have kind of a compelling story because upsets happen more in the Big 12 in those conference title games, which means ratings, which means views, which means you're rooting for an underdog at that point. So what if the Big 12 shows everybody that, if we had these quarterfinal games, championship Saturday, what if this was actually a good model? Because if you look at the SEC, let's just say the Big 12 title game this year. And it'd be kind of weird because it'd be Oklahoma and Oklahoma State playing each other twice. But if you look at Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, let's compare that, for instance, this year to the SEC championship game. Florida and Alabama. Which game would you rather watch between either Alabama and Florida, who's being held by duct tape and chewing gum at this point? Alabama could play their 3rd string and probably win by 2 touchdowns. Or watch Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, 2 rivals, in-state rivals, going for the outright Big 12 championship. But you just got to follow the money in these things. So that's an interesting thing. When you look at these statistics, you see the money, you see the ratings for these things. They're not going anywhere. Now, the relevance of the conference title games, they've certainly gone south. They've gone somewhere else. They're not here as far as dictating who's possibly going to play in the college football playoff semifinals and eventually in the national championship. But it does bring revenue, so it's not going anywhere. Anything that makes schools money and the NCAA money, it's not going anywhere. It's going to stay. But the thing is, too, these teams still like playing these games. They still like winning their conference in these championship games. So it's not like they're completely irrelevant. But it is funny, though, because I don't think the committee has it figured out. Because it's funny, people bring up the whole TCU and Baylor and Ohio State that year, and they won their championship game. And the Big 12 thought they had to expand and get their championship game back because they're at a disadvantage. And then here we are this year, and Ohio State is locked into that top 4 without playing that championship game this year. So it's interesting. It basically changes every year. But also, I think, if your conference, that's the thing, though. Head-to-head matters with this committee. And also, if most of your conference, like the Big Ten, is in the top 25 and top 15, they had 4 or 5 teams in the top 10 at one point. So your schedule is going to definitely be good. If you win those top 25 games, I think you deserve to be in it. I think Ohio State is one of the best teams in the country. So is Michigan. But there are going to be times, I think, still, and I'd like to remain hope here, though. I think there are still going to be years where those conference championship games are ultimately going to decide whether this team is completely in the top 4 or they are eliminated. And you shuffle up that board. And you're still going to see it. Pac-12 championship game, I think, is tonight. You got Washington and Colorado playing each other. I think it's 7:30 or something like that. Matlock, I have to look that up. I think it's tonight. I actually forgot about that. All the holiday stuff. But that's definitely going to help Michigan if Buffalo pulls it out. Matlock's going to look it up. He'll look it up at the break.
Yeah, look it up at the break.
But we're gonna take a break. I don't remember the time, but they do play tonight. So that's going to decide some things too. I could shuffle up the playoff rankings if Washington loses. Watch the ACC game though, because Clemson could fall. I don't think it's going to happen, but it could happen. All right. When we come back, we'll have Yogi Kender, Mingo Central head football coach. Excited to talk to him, man. He's got a big matchup against Fairmont Senior this Saturday, AA state title game. He'll be back with us when we get back from this break. Brandon Lowe Show, 95 Sports Fox.
You're listening to The Brandon Lowe Show on 95 The Sports Fox. Be a part of the show. Let the Valley hear your opinion.
You know, that's just like your opinion, man.
On the top sports stories, locally or nationally. On The Brandon Lowe Show, call 304-344-9704.
It's Jason Smith. If it's almost a sport, we've got it here.
Bold prediction, Calvin Johnson is back in the NFL in 2017. He's given the Lions a year to move on without him, and he will play for either Denver, New England, or Seattle. Is he going to be Julio Jones? No, he's not. Is he going to be a periphery top 10 wide receiver? Sure he will be. He'll be on teams that are competitive, that aren't laughing stocks. He'll be back in the NFL next year.
It's Jason Smith.
Nights at 10 on 95 The Sports Fox.
Who's the microphone assassin?
It's the Ben Maller Show.
Transmitting now.
The Redskins and Kirk Cousins, you got to look at this both ways, right? They both took calculated risks. Washington said, hey, do it again. Kirk Cousins, from his side, he bet on himself. And now Washington is going to have to pay the man. Scott McCloughan he's gonna need a therapy dog when he finds out how much money Kirk Cousins is going to demand in the offseason. So the Redskins have no one to blame but themselves. They took it, they did the right thing. The Redskins did the right thing. They say, hey, show us again, and Kirk Cousins, he's doing it. And B, at this point, the Redskins, they might as well wait. But this is Kirk Cousins' meal ticket. He would be an idiot to cash in now. You've got to wait.
Ben Maller. The Ben Maller Show.
The microphone throttler.
Overnight on 95 The Sports Fox.
Follow the show on Twitter at WBES Brandon Lowe. You can also listen to The Brandon Lowe Show on your TuneIn app or at 95thesportsfox.com. Now, back to The Brandon Lowe Show on 95 The Sports Fox.
All right, we got Mingo Central head football coach Yogi Kender on the line. Mr. Kender, how you doing, brother?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
I want to jump into this. This was a season that you didn't even know if you were going to coach. Here you are with your team heading to the state title game. You've coached a lot of football, but this has to be a season you'll never forget.
Exactly. It's been fun and been exciting from the first game to hopefully to the last game tonight. It's been a great ride with all these kids.
Well, also, you thought about stepping down and letting a younger coach have an opportunity with the passing of your daughter. But why was it important for you to come back for one more year?
Well, I just need something to keep my mind occupied, and this is probably the best thing that you can do because you're always busy. And some of the kids want me back, coaches want me back, school want me back. So I came back, and it was a blessing. I needed this a whole lot more than it probably needed me.
Your quarterback, Jeremy Dillon, is just an unbelievable athlete. He's committed to Marshall to play basketball. You've said even that he could even play football for Marshall's football team. His numbers this year could win him a Kennedy Award. What is it about Jeremy to you that makes him so special?
Well, first of all, he's a tough kid, and he's a very good kid. And usually those tough kids, they're not as nice. They're not as nice people, but this kid is tough and he's just nice. He's just a good kid. He's good around school, good around the young kids. He's good around the little bitty kids. These little kids kind of look up to him like he's been here forever, and he's a guy that everybody wants on their football team.
You face a very good Fairmont senior team that defeated Bridgeport for the first time since 2006 in the semifinals last week. What do you see on film that jumps out to you with this Fairmont senior squad?
Well, they got a bunch of athletes, a bunch of big, fast guys. They're real well coached. They're a lot like our team, just to be honest with you, except for the big guys. We don't have a lot of big guys, but we got a lot of tough guys, fast guys, athletic guys, and we like to do a lot of the same stuff offensively. We like to throw the ball, we like to run the ball, and they do a real good job at both of them. And it's going to be a good football game.
When you're standing on that sideline for the final time in that state title game this Saturday, what will be going through your head? Do you take a moment to kind of take it all in, or is it all business until after the game?
Well, it's going to be I don't know, just to be honest with you. It's going to be a little bit of both. But I'm going to be thinking about some stuff probably that. I'm going to be thinking about some stuff that's going to be pretty tough.
Certainly, definitely a great moment for you. Like I said, it's been a great season. It's a wonderful ride for you coming back to last year. But I want to know what your plans are for you when you retire. I hear you like to golf and hunt.
Yeah, golf, hunt, fish. I just talk about old football games. That kind of occupies my time because all those old players that come around. They all tell you all these touchdowns that they've got and they never got, and how many games that they won, and because guys always remember this. All your former players, they can tell you every play, and I just like being involved with guys like that, and, because they give you a lot of their time.
Good stuff, Coach Yogi Kender, Mingo Central football coach, being in the state finals for AA against Fairmont Senior. Coach, we wish you luck, man. I'm going to be rooting for you. I hope you guys take the state title.
Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.
You're listening to The Brandon Lowe Show on 95 The Sports Fox.
Be a part of the show. Let the Valley hear your opinion.
That's just like your opinion, man.
On the top sports stories, locally or nationally, on The Brandon Lowe Show. Call 304-344-9704.
Bring on our guest. He's assistant coach, Fort Wayne Macedons, Mark Downey. What's up, Coach?
Not much, Brandon. How are you guys doing today?
I just want to congratulate you and your staff and your players on a tremendous win over a very good Indiana team.
Thank you. It was huge for our guys and our program and the school and the city. It really was. It was a great event, a great night, probably one of the biggest events in our school history, and a great success.
Listen to The Brandon Lowe Show weeknights at 5 on 95 The Sports Fox.
It's high school basketball season, and Basketball Friday Night in West Virginia is bringing you the latest from every corner of the Mountain State.
High school basketball, there are some rivalries tonight.
Join Ryan Epling and Coach Rick Maroon for the most up-to-date scoreboard and much more.
To beat Huntington St. Joe, who is 7-time state champ, just makes that victory so much better.
Join Basketball Friday Night beginning December 9th from 9 to midnight on WBES 95 The Sports Fox and online at basketballnight.com.
Bring on our guest. He's assistant coach, Fort Wayne Macedons, Mark Downey. What's up, Coach?
Not much, Brandon. How are you guys doing today?
I just want to congratulate you and your staff and your players on a tremendous win over a very good Indiana team.
Thank you. It was huge for our guys and our program and the school and the city. It really was. It was a great event, a great night, probably one of the biggest events in our school history, and a great success.
Listen to The Brandon Lowe Show weeknights at 5 on 95 The Sports Fox.
This is the Dan Patrick Show.
Just like to say that y'all rock, man.
Ty Dunn is a feature writer for Bleacher Report. He wrote a profile on Aaron Rodgers today. I guess it's open season now on Aaron Rodgers. Everybody waits for the one thing to be said about somebody, and then it feels like everybody else can pile on if they want to. And the only reason why I bring this up is that it feels like Rodgers is not himself.
Dan Patrick.
Mornings 9 to noon on 95 The Sports Fox.
Follow the show on Twitter at WBES Brandon Lowe. You can also listen to The Brandon Lowe Show on your TuneIn app or at 95thesportsfox.com. Now, back to The Brandon Lowe Show on 95 The Sports Fox.
Want to thank Yogi Kender for coming on the show, talking about his Mingo Central squad. You can hear the emotion at the end of that interview. Just a lot for parents to go through losing a child, and then coming back for that year, having a tremendous year. Like you mentioned, Matlock, I think it's a bittersweet moment for Coach Yogi Kender because this is his last year. He went through a lot with losing a child, like I mentioned, and then the success of this team, getting to see these kids be successful for his last year and possibly bring home a state title for Mingo County. It's just a special, bittersweet sort of, but just a special story there. So,
oh yeah, most definitely. And he's such a nice guy. I mean, you can hear it, in the interview there. He's just such a genuine guy that really cares about those kids so much.
Yeah. All right, let's move over to WVU news. Soccer team, women's soccer team is playing in the Final Four against UNC. Right now, looking at their Twitter feed, Mountaineers, they say Mountaineers looking like the quicker team right now. Need to find the right looks in the final third. That was 7 minutes ago. Excellent D. Clears ball, flips field, whistle blows during WVU drive, halting the attack. And great header inside that box, halting UNC chance. So right now it's still 0-0 in that Final Four matchup. Matlock's reloaded here. I think that's where we're at right now. So it's still 0-0. What I'm seeing for that big matchup with the WVU women's soccer team take on UNC. Now UNC, if you don't know how good this program is in soccer, they've won 21 national titles. 21, including 9 in a row from 86 to 94, 91% of their matchups, victories. So this program knows championships in soccer. And besides North Carolina, there have been just 10 different programs to win national championships in the 34 years the NCAA has sponsored women's soccer. Only 10 other teams in 34 years. That's not a long time of a sport. Being sponsored by the NCAA, and they got 21. So this is a great program. The women's team just doing great. WVU women's soccer, Final Four, trying to get that cup. And right now what we're seeing, they just posted another picture. Mountaineers look on scoreless right now still. So Mountaineers hanging in there with a storied program with UNC. The West Virginia women's soccer team has done a tremendous job this year, though. They've been number one most of the season, so rooting for them. We'll try to keep you updated as this thing goes along, too, if we get a final score or something. All right, going over to W football. It's senior day for the Mountaineers. And you look at this matchup with Baylor and West Virginia. We said it last night with Matty Stout, the host of the Pat White podcast, that these two teams don't really have a lot of love for each other. I think it started in 2012. Geno Smith throwing for, 8 touchdowns, something crazy like that. 656 yards, I believe. It's just, you look at that, how they started their journey in the Big 12. West Virginia, you had Dana Holgerson, and they ended up winning that game. 70-63. Won it by a touchdown, scoring 70 points. It was just a track meet the whole time. It looked like a glorified 7-on-7. But that's how we were introduced to the Big 12. And then Baylor bounces back the following year. This is when our defense was just atrocious. That was our 4-8 season in 2013, winning that game 73-42. We got most of those points, folks, on a couple interceptions and later on in the game as well, when most of Baylor's starters were out. That was an ugly game in 2013. Woo. That was disgusting. And also, 2014, this was awesome. Held the Baylor offense 27 points. WV cruised to that 41-27 victory. And then last year, Baylor just destroyed us, 62-38. The highlight of that whole game was when Shelton Gibson took a kickoff return back for a touchdown for 100 yards. That was pretty much the highlight for that one. Baylor is on a 5-game losing streak. They opened 6 straight victories. They will not have Seth Russell. This is a program, like I said, that's just really fallen off the wagon. I think a lot of this off-season stuff surrounding the program has really kind of hurt this program. The injury with Seth Russell didn't help. You had guys that left the program and before the season started. You got this whole crisis going on with what they're going to do with Baylor in regards to what happened. And then you got a Jim Grobe coach who signed an 8-month contract and isn't interested at all for trying to even become the head coach at Baylor, let alone that the Board of Regents, I would imagine, with Baylor probably doesn't want Jim Grobe as their coach anyway. They've already been looking for coaches. So regardless if he was interested, Jim Grobe probably wouldn't get the job. Now I think Jim Grobe's the guy for the job. He's a no-nonsense guy. I think he would do a good job trying to at least get Baylor on the right track. Now the thing is, too, is Baylor's assistants that are very loyal to Art Browse will eventually leave as well. So they're going to be looking at not only, and this doesn't matter anyway, because when they bring in a new head coach, most likely that head coach is going to want his own assistants anyway. So those assistants will go somewhere else. And regardless where Art Browse goes, if he gets the coach next season, those assistants will go somewhere else, I would imagine. So this is kind of a last hurrah for Jim Grobe. He returns back to the state of West Virginia. He's from Huntington. And so he'll be returning home to a place that I'm sure he heard growing up, Morgantown. Not necessarily probably one of his favorite places if he's anything like those Marshall fans over there at Huntington.
Yeah.
So you got a guy who's probably coached, well, outside the bowl game, coaching for his last time as a head coach for a Big 12 program for right now. You got Baylor coming in as last time I checked, a 17-point underdog. No Seth Russell. But with this game, it brings kind of an interesting story because you got Baylor, who has been struggling for the past 5 straight games or whatever, lost their quarterback. You got all the stuff I just mentioned, but this could potentially set up for if we're not careful, a very devastating loss as far as being favored by 17 points. It's senior day. There's a lot of emotions. But I think the senior day thing, for the most part, does work in most programs on their side. You know what I mean? It gives them more of an advantage as far as emotional morale because they want to win one. It's their last game in that stadium. So I'll give the advantage to the Mountaineers for that. But we got to be careful because this is still a dangerous Baylor team. And they certainly could come into Morgantown and steal one away. So we do have to play Mountaineer football, so to speak. And that means Baylor's defense has been down this year. And I honestly think that West Virginia can easily put up close to 40 points in this game. Easy. Our defense, too, we should be pretty ready for a Baylor attack. I'm liking our odds in this game. Like I said, I don't do predictions on these West Virginia games because I'm weird and I got this whole, what would you call that, superstition for not predicting games on the air. It's worked out okay, I guess. They're 9-2, right?
Yeah,
Can I take credit for that?
I think we're doing pretty good. Keep it up.
But I think you'll see one of the best games out of Skylar Howard, being his last game at Mountaineer Field. I think our offense should move the ball fine. I think our defense, if they play like they're capable of doing, I think it'll be a good game for the Mountaineers. It's senior day. And I'm excited for that. It's a great time. Also, basketball team, like I mentioned, plays Virginia at 2 p.m. on Saturday on ESPNU. So I'll be flipping back and forth. I'm really, really hoping the Mountaineers can pull out a big victory over Virginia. You need those early wins to get anything with a resume-building quality opponent early in the season. You need to grab those. They don't come often because non-conference portion of most basketball schedules, they've gotten better. I can't admit. You got these tournaments they do, these tip-off tournaments. They've gotten better. But if you got a chance to knock off a top 10 team this early in the season, you got to take it. So we'll be watching that game as well on Saturday as well. 2 p.m. for that tip-off basketball game against Virginia, and then 3:30 kickoff for the W football game on Fox Sports 1. Basketball game will be on ESPNU. All right, update on this women's soccer before we get a break. Gordon with an excellent threw the ball to Cutler in a box. Both are taken down, but no foul called, and UNC clears. Still 0-0. I was posted 4 minutes ago on the W Women's Soccer Twitter page. So, still 0-0. Let's go Mountaineers. Let's get that win. Let's play for that cup. All right, when we come back, I'm going to give you my NFL picks. And interesting story on Tyronn Lue, what he said to LeBron. Game 7 NBA Finals last year. Brandon Lowe Show, 95 The Sports Fox.
Kick it. Can I kick it?
You're listening to The Brandon Lowe Show on 95 The Sports Fox. Be a part of the show. Let the Valley hear your opinion.
You know, that's just like your opinion, man.
Or the top sports stories locally or nationally on The Brandon Lowe Show. Call 304-344-9704.
Jim Rome, only on CBS Sports Radio.
Dave Roberts joining us. What's it like to hear your name called as the National League Manager of the Year?
When you hear your name in that context and you know that the managers that preceded you, it's a long, illustrious list. Just proud of the way that our guys competed and played and trying to continue to build the culture and play the game the Dodger way. Romy, it's humbling, and I know that's a trite word, but I just can't find anything else to say. I'm just humbled.
The Jim Rome Show, noon to 3 on 95 The Sports Fox.
Show to this is J Moore Sports.
Yeah! Why is the NFL so insistent on exporting NFL football to a foreign country? The answer is money. Money. But if you want to export a product, make sure the place you're exporting it needs it, one, wants it, second, needs it, third. The country of England and the city of London, they don't need NFL football. They don't care.
J Moore Sports.
Afternoons at 3 on 95 The Sports Fox.
Follow the show on Twitter at WBES Brandon Lowe. You can also listen to The Brandon Lowe Show on your TuneIn app or at 95thesportsfox.com. Now, back to The Brandon Lowe Show on 95 The Sports Fox.
All right, I want to mention this as well. In St. Albans Cunningham Memorial Park's 28th annual Memorial Luminary Celebration, begin lighting the luminaries at 3 p.m. Volunteers are needed. Everybody is welcome to come out and also volunteer at 3 p.m. This is December 3rd. That'll be tomorrow, Saturday, 3 p.m. Volunteers come out for that Cunningham Memorial Park's 28th annual Memorial Luminary Celebration. People may start driving through around 7 p.m. They're taking toy and canned food donations. They do not accept any money donations, so don't bring money. But would like to request that any of the money that they've been given to the Salvation Army. So volunteers for that, if you're willing to step up and try to get out there and help them out with that. It's a big thing over there in St. Albans. That's tomorrow, 3 p.m. Get out there and volunteer, donate some canned goods, some toys, good stuff. All right, want to look at, I'll give you these NFL picks. I'm not sure if we're going to get this LeBron thing. Maybe I could save that. But I already missed one. My upset pick this week was the Vikings to upset the Cowboys. That was close. Vikings were up 9-7 late in that game, a fumble. And the Cowboys took advantage, winning the game 17-15 last night. Cowboys are now 11-1. And I'm sure they're sitting still at the top of Super Bowl odds in Vegas, along with the Patriots. I would like to see that. Patriots-Cowboys. It'd be a good Super Bowl. Chiefs at Falcons. I got Falcons all the way. Falcons, they just got a tremendous offense. They're at home. Matt Ryan plays a lot better at home. Chiefs, it seems like every year Andy Reid puts together a nice defense, but he just doesn't score a lot of points. I mean, he's still getting that end zone much. And when you go against a Falcons team at home that certainly can put it in the end zone, I'm going to go Falcons all the way. Lions at Saints. I like what I see out of the Saints as of late. I think I've said this for the past 2 weeks. They're the type of squad every single year that seems like their offense, the last 2 years mostly, have just kind of started slowly. At the beginning of the season, they progress. They get better as the season goes. I do like Saints at home. I do think the Saints pull it out. They also play very well at home. Rams at Patriots. Don't be surprised if this is a lot closer than you think. Rams bring a nice defense into Foxborough, but I'm going to go Tom Brady all the way. He hardly ever loses at home. The Patriots all the way in that one over the Rams. Broncos at Jaguars. I'm at a loss with both quarterbacks. Jaguars are at home. They do play better at home, but I like Broncos' defense against beat-up Jaguars team. So I'm going Broncos in that one on the road. Texans at Packers. Texans dealing with a few things. Packers, it seems like Aaron Rodgers has kind of gotten on a hot streak the past couple of weeks, and also Green Bay at home. Don't be surprised if Texans do play this tough and could pull out a victory. I would not be surprised. But I'm going Packers all the way. Eagles at Bengals. I'm going Eagles. Dolphins at Ravens. I'm going Fins. I think the Fins have been playing really well as of late. The Ravens also a team that struggles to put the ball in the end zone. They got a tremendous defense. But I think the Dolphins' offense lately has really shown, especially the running game. I'm going to go Dolphins on the road over the Ravens. 49ers and Bears. I simply just took the Bears because they're at home. Because both teams are atrocious. Dumpster fire franchise at this point. I'm going Bears, though. They're on the home. And it's going to be close. Bills at Raiders. Raiders. How about them Raiders? 9-2 on the season. And I'm going to go Raiders at home. Giants at Steelers. I'm going Steelers. Don't be surprised if the Giants steal one away. But I like Steelers at home. I like Big Ben's attitude late in the season. Heading into the playoffs, I'm going Steelers. Redskins over the Cardinals. Buccaneers over the Chargers. Panthers and Seahawks. I'm going Seahawks at home. And for your Monday night game, which is going to be a snoozer, Colts at Jets, I'm going to go Colts in a very boring, slow-paced, low-scoring affair. There's my NFL picks. Let's head over to our Let's Get Weird news.
Let's get weird, buddy. Let's get weird.
News.
All right. Coming out of New York, a man rescued from the oven vent at a Western New York pizzeria is now facing burglary charges. The Monroe County Sheriff's Office says deputies arrived at Pontillo's Pizzeria. Did I say that right? Suburban Rochester at 3:45 a.m. Friday after someone reported a man yelling for help. They found 53-year-old Richard Graham of Rochester stuck in ductwork that led from an oven to a roof vent.
He was headed for the oven.
After Penfield firefighters pulled him out, Graham was checked out at a hospital before being arraigned in town court. And he got those charges and such, so he'll probably go to jail for a little bit there. Even beavers are getting in the holiday spirit. That's what one sheriff's office discovered this week when it spotted a curious beaver checking out Christmas decorations at a dollar store outside of Washington, D.C. The St. Mary County Sheriff's Office in Maryland says the beaver walked through the door at the Dollar General on Monday, wandered into the Christmas section, and knocked a few items over before being safely removed by animal control. First off, what is a beaver doing in the middle of Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, and what's he doing shopping for Christmas?
He's got probably a bunch of kids he's going to buy for.
That's true. Yeah. Couldn't find what he needed in there.
All right. He was buying wrapping paper for the gifts and stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Absolutely. All right, that's our Let's Get Weird news.
We're froze up.
Okay, so we might start shooting things off. You still froze?
Oh, yeah.
All right, well, I don't know how many minutes we got. What, 2 minutes left in the show? Not even. All right.
Not even. Yep.
Well, maybe what we should do, we go ahead and thank all the... There we go.
Got it back.
Computer blue.
Man, that system keeps trying to mess with us. All right, thank you to all of our guests, Tom Bragg, Matt Welch, Yogi Kender. Who else do we have on the show this week? Tons of people.
Folks. Yeah.
So want to thank all of our guests. And we are going to talk to you guys Monday. Enjoy all the sports this weekend, man. Championship week in college football, high school football playoffs. Check those out on Root Sports. And just a ton of action all weekend long. So we'll talk to you guys Monday on the Brandon Lowe Show, 95 The Sports Fox. Good night.
Jay, shoot it! You got a towel, man? It's kind of hot out here, man.
Why don't you purify yourself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka? good.